Hello and welcome. You are watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our platforms. If you're watching us today is National Tequila Day, although you're probably watching this somewhere like Mexican Independence Day for all I know. We are that far ahead with that many tequilas, but I'm in San Antonio. That young man is?
Jim Johnston in Youngstown, Ohio.
Jim has been beside himself with this tequila.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You hadn't. Okay, so
I like to be completely surprised by these. I want it to be a legitimate first time feeling
hey,
for most of them.
that's why it's sipping off the cuff. One of us has to not break that seal. So,
But like on the other one, I had a margarita emergency, and that's the only tequila I could reach, so I had to go with it. But this one is a surprise.
hey, well, we picked out some wonderful baked agave notes and some mineralness in the blanco. The reposado was phenomenal. I'm hoping that this añejo will be a natural progression.
Yeah.
And we have
I
raved
think
about.
it will be.
I think so too. I've raved about the quality. You're looking at tequila bubbles, folks. It happens. Not a real indicator of quality, but sure is a hell of a sign. Let me tell you.
And I gotta say, if they did what they did with the Blanco and the Reposado, you gotta think that the Anejo comes out at the height of their
Right.
glory.
But remember, if you've watched us at all over the years, you know that sometimes there's a weak link. Sometimes, there's something that falls through the cracks. Sometimes they fall flat on their faces, and then it's like, you're killing me. So, but we always, we have high hopes for G3. It's G3 Tequila, Los Tres Garcias. Oh man, oh boy.
I can already tell.
Oh boy, you can't see. Trying to sneak anything past Jim is like trying to sneak a lamb chop past a wolf.
Yeah, lamb chop sounds good. I need to get a straw. I don't know if we're going to use a glass for this one. I think we're just going to.
You're just gonna lick it out of, just drink it out of the bottle.
So I think we've determined that this is real cork with reinforced cork,
Right.
and this holds that aroma better than any wine cork I've ever smelled.
Well, and again, you got to remember this is spirits, not wine. So, but
Right.
you've had some
that,
red
you get
wines.
that wine that sits on its side the whole time. The cork kind of soaks in it. And you get that whole. This kind of. Oh, that just smells phenomenal right off the. It's on the cork. It smells good.
So we're nominating the cork for brand of promise.
We'll just. Can we nominate this in a separate category? Cork
Yeah.
or promise?
Well, we've been using several different glassware, and I think glassware is worthy tonight. I'm going to use my Glencairn.
That's fine.
Yep. So we're breaking the seal on this one, and we're gonna be tasting it as if they would in Ireland or Scotland. Well, you
And
just got
shout
back
out to
from
my
Ireland.
friends at the Dingle Whiskey Distillery. And
There we
Dingle
go.
Island.
Oh my God, boy, are you gonna have some stories for those guys?
I tell you what, I have a feeling we're going to be on a tequila whiskey exchange program moving forward, which I'm
what?
perfectly fine with.
Don't forget me, because
Oh no, we're gonna include everybody.
Speaking of which, I'm working on I'm trying to acquire samples of a brand that's being rested it's a tequila brand that is being purposely rested in Scotch barrels.
Oh.
And those guys, I'm just waiting for their pallets and their bottling, and we have them on we're on that short list. But these guys are from the UK, and they are resting in Scotch barrels. So I can't wait, because the only other person that I know that rests in Scotch barrels, you know who that is, right? Herman Gonzalez of Tequila T1 and Tears of Llorona.
Yeah.
That's his secret. He rests in Scotch barrels, Scotch whiskey barrels.
Well, and depending on what kind of barrel you're getting, you get a lot of character out of that.
Well, we had him over at the house. So anybody who's seen our Herman Gonzalez videos, they're on a playlist on YouTube. So if you've seen any of these, he wouldn't tell me what brand of Scotch he was resting in. He wouldn't tell me. That's his secret.
I wouldn't
Well, why?
let that be a secret as well.
Yeah, well, what do you think? Do you like the color on this?
If you poured this in a glass and gave it to me in a Glencairn glass, I would expect that you were handing me a glass of whiskey.
So now
I'm assuming this sat for a little while longer than
because
the requirement.
Tell people what your estimation was of the resting in the barrels for the Reposado.
With the Reposado, because of the wood flavor that it picked up and the color and the clarity of that color too, that was very. You could tell that went in. The Blanco is crystal clean. I mean, it's pure. It is just a transparent, very very pure Blanco, and I think that Blanco picked up the characteristics of the wood. I assumed it sat more towards the 8 months than 6 months side to pick up those characteristics. This, while it is slightly darker in color, the aroma and the color alone make me think that this went several months past the Reposado.
Well, we know technically it needs to be, according to the normas, it can be up to 3 years.
Right.
So would you say this is like it's probably over a year and under 2, maybe? Or 2 years?
It would surprise me if this got close to 2 years.
Okay.
But I'd say a year and a half would be a great guess.
Okay, cool. Beautiful.
It smells phenomenal.
Yes. It's lovely. And again, according to Jim, in his estimation, he figured that the barrels were probably once, maybe twice used, if that.
Right.
So because it's very reminiscent of whiskey, but it's just adding that extra layer because you're starting with such a hearty Blanco.
And you still get the agave out of this without it being overpowered by the barrel. And I get a little bit of the barrel char on the scent of it, and I get a really nice, whereas the Blanco and the Reposado had kind of a citrus sweetness to it.
Yes.
It has a caramely, honey, kind of a caramelized sugar sweetness to it.
We don't know. Again, I'm just telling you, folks, to be honest, for just to be transparent, we know nothing about how long it's aged. We know nothing about where it's baked. We know nothing about their water. We know nothing. Okay, so we're just flying by the seat of our palates and going from there. But I love what I smell. This aroma is just beautiful.
Mm.
And in the Glencairn, it's like this has got to bring back memories for you, man, because you just got back from Ireland.
Yeah, this is like a whiskey taste, and I tell you what, the thing that sometimes I notice about a tequila over a whiskey is the whiskey, if you age it long enough, and in Ireland, minimum 3 years, if you age it long enough, your first smell is the characteristic of the barrel, or the characteristic of the peat, or the mash, whereas the agave for tequila comes forward much more. This smells like something that was aged like whiskey, but made of agave. So my first inclination when I smell it is, oh, this was in a whiskey barrel. But then I immediately get that nice, clean, ripe fruit of agave on it.
It's just lovely. Whoever's doing their barrel management, again, we don't know who their master distiller is. The only thing we know for sure is the gnome number. We'll give you that. The gnome on this is, where's my glasses here?
1594.
1594, and it is a one brand distillery. Okay,
yeah.
This is it. This has got to be a family brand and a family distillery. We know that for sure. Okay. I got to dive in. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, the agave is still there on the back end, right at the back of the palate. You can taste it.
Yeah. And again, the agave is there, but it's not right up front.
No.
And that toasted charred wood, the caramelized sugar on this, it blends very nicely. It's got Whereas the reposado had just that little hint of baking spice. It's come up a little bit more now that this has spent some more time, but it is a really smooth, complex, but well-blended flavor profile on this. And wow.
Wow. Wow. This is a gem, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, if anybody can find us some information on this, I would love to know a lot more, because
this is going to fall here.
Yeah, that one. Now, this one is hearty enough. I think I would pair it with a cigar.
I agree.
Not a robust cigar. I think a medium to light, just because I don't want them to clash.
Right. I think a medium-bodied cigar with this would be phenomenal, and I think we're gonna have to lock this up so no overzealous guests get it.
Yeah, no. You're gonna have to hide it. I have to hide it from myself, because.
Well, see, that's a problem. I can't hide it from myself. I know where they all are.
Yeah,
so.
Well, we're gonna
try to have to exercise some sort of discretion and hold back, I guess.
Well, you're gonna need to, because we're gonna need everybody's ballots for our Brand of Promise balloting, which. For those of you who are watching, and if you're watching in September, we have probably already shut down for 2017 and are taking requests now for 2018's season, because we have so many tequilas and the quality is out there. It's amazing to me. I was telling Jim on camera, it's amazing to me. We're in the middle of an agave crisis, and what we know for sure is that brands like these, this is an estate grown agave. They own their agave. You can see the pictures on Facebook, because that's really all the information we have. We know on the label it tells us it's de Arandas, so we know for sure where they're coming from, and it's a one man brand, ladies and gentlemen. They
kind of like mystery, but I tell you what, if you're willing to go in completely blind of any knowledge about the tequila itself, other than taking a look at the bottle, once you taste it, I don't need to know much more. This is where it's at.
Yeah, this is just outstanding. I wish I knew more about their who does their barrel management, who's their master distiller, where what they're doing in their process. We know nothing about fermentation. We don't know what kind of water they're using. I know that in Arandas there's the brands that we know of that are there have underground water. Some are using rainwater. We don't know. But whatever they're doing, they need to keep it up, man.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. They only focus on one line, but the whole line, I think, Brand of Promise, absolutely.
Yes.
As good as the Blanco was, each iteration gets better up the line. It's really, really phenomenal.
There's not a weak link in this line, ladies and gentlemen. I was telling Jim, I said, don't be surprised. Sometimes something falls through the cracks. It doesn't. They fall flat on their face in one expression or the other. This is a solid, natural progression of the line. You will not be disappointed. It is fantastic. This is a fantastic brand. Los Tres Garcias, Brand of Promise nominee in their category. This is a gem. You're gonna have to look for it. If you find any reviews, like I say, you'll find them on the Binny's website, but they're like from 2014. So who knows?
Gotta dig deep.
Yeah, I don't know what their pricing is. The contact information is on. We'll give you as much info as we have. Look for them on Instagram. Look for them on Facebook. They were very forthcoming on Instagram. So find out where they're at, and if Vinny still carries them, and they want to get rid of them off their shelves for some reason, go in there and take the whole case. Well,
yeah,
leave some, but this is a gem. This is a gem. That's our take on Los Tres Garcias Tequila 3G. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio. That young man out there is
Jim Johnston in Youngstown, Ohio.
We have been dissecting and discussing and enjoying Tequila 3G. If you know more about it than we do, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe down below. Tell us in the comments. If you're listening to us on Blog Talk Radio or iTunes, hey, subscribe and shoot us an email. Tell us what you think, because this is the reason that we get involved in these things, is to find you some secrets, some hidden gems. This is one of them.
Yeah.
But like we say here, tomar sabiamente.
Happy National Tequila Day and sip wisely.